So day 2 notes is all about the algebra behind these parallel line relationships. So before we get into that, let's identify the relationships we have that are congruent and the relationships that we have that are supplementary. There are 4 congruent relationships and 2 supplementary relationships. Who's got one of the congruents?
From this or this?
No, from the list from last class, the vocabulary words.
Oh.
We'll come back to you. Evan?
Vertical.
Vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. Alternate interior angles are congruent. I'm okay if you abbreviate the word alternate with ALT.
Alternate exterior.
Alternate exterior angles. Evan?
I had one for supplementary.
Okay, supplementary?
Was it corresponding? Or was that?
That was congruent. Corresponding angles. They are congruent. So those are the ones that are in the same spot. So top left, top left. Now we have 2 supplementary relationships that we can talk about. Scott? Linear pairs. And we have one more. Price? Consecutive interior. No. Because exterior angles, they can't be consecutive. They're divided by that transversal. Good question, though. The question was, is there such thing as consecutive exterior? There is not. So we've listed all 4. So now when we look at our relationships for these questions and we're thinking, so we have that relationship we found and we know that they are corresponding. And if we forget, are those congruent or supplementary? We have this list to go back and look at. Okay, so let's start. It says state all the relationships and solve for the variable. So right now I've given you 10x in this one, and the only other angle I give you is this box. So we're relating these 2 angles together. So they're both on the inside of our parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. What is their relationship?
Alternate interior.
Alternate interior. Angles. So they are congruent. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. In your proofs next class, you have to list the relationship. And then we would go a step further and we would have these angles would have numbers like 4 and 5. And we would say angle 4 and 5, measurement of angle 4 equals measurement of angle 5. Why? Alternate interior angle theorem. So you'll see. So let's set them equal. 10x equals, what's that box mean? 90 degrees. Divide both sides by 10, so x equals 9. I am okay if you don't show me all of the steps, but that is the minimum amount of work I would like to see. Number 2. We have these 2 angles here.
Oh, you're just finding x.
We're just finding x. Yeah, we don't have to go back and plug in until later. Evan?
Vertical angles.
Vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. So we're going to set those 2 things equal to each other and solve for x. 10 plus 10x equals 80. Subtract 10 on both sides, so 10x equals 70. Divide by 10 on both sides, x equals 7. Done. Questions on number 2? Number 3. Okay, we're given these two angles. Both of those angles are on the inside. They are both on the left side of our transversal. Evan? Consecutive, interior. Consecutive, they're in a row. Okay, there's nothing between them separating them. Interior, they're on the inside of the parallel lines.
Is there a symbol for supplementary?
There's not a specific symbol for supplementary. We could just, here's what we'll do. Instead of putting the equal sign, the congruent symbol, we'll just say equal 180. Instead of writing the whole word supplementary, you could if you wanted to, but. So these aren't congruent, they are supplementary. So what am I going to do this time instead of setting them equal to each other?
Set them equal to 1.
Set them equal to 180. So on the right side I equal 180. What's the left side need to look like?
X plus 2x
X plus 106 plus X plus 86.
Good. So I'm adding them both together. If you wanted to combine them before you got to that step, I'd be okay with that. So if right off the bat you said 2x plus 192 equals 180, that'd be okay. Otherwise, set it up like this and now combine. 1x plus 1x is 2x. 106 plus 86, 192 equals 180.
Negative 12.
Subtract 192 on both sides, so 2x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals negative 6. You might be thinking, hold up, I'm talking about angles. I have a negative, that seems wrong, okay? However, if I were to plug negative 6 in for this x that my pen is pointing at, what's negative 6 plus 86? 80, so my angle still comes out positive. So we're okay. So if you need to write yourself a little note, it's okay that x is negative since angles are all positive. If I had plugged it back into my angle and it came out with a negative angle, then I would know that I did something wrong. We're going to step it up a notch with number 4. So first, I have these two angles that I'm asking you to find x. And then afterwards, I want you to tell me what that question mark angle is. I could have given it another variable, but for now, I'm just going to give it a question mark. So first, what's the relationship between my two orange angles? Good, alternate exterior. And they are congruent. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. 8x plus 3 equals 7x plus 11. Subtract 7x on both sides. 8 minus 7 is 1, so x plus 3 equals 11. If you wanted to move the 3 in the same step, I'm okay with that. Subtract 3 now, so x equals 8. What's wrong?
I should do 11.
11 was from here. Oh, on this
Oh,
side?
okay.
I just dropped it straight down. How did I get 11? I just dropped it straight down here.
One down,
So I did still want to find x, but now I have to go back in and find this missing angle. I have options what I could do here. I would rather plug it into an angle that can immediately give me the question mark angle. So if I plugged it into 7x plus 11, do 7x plus 11 and the question mark have a relationship?
Yeah.
Yes, corresponding angles. If I plugged it into 8x plus 3, do they have a relationship with the question mark?
Yeah, vertical.
Vertical angles. So either one is okay to plug it into. So let's go ahead and plug it into this top one. 8 times x, which is 8, plus 3. 8 times 8 is 64, plus 3 is 67 degrees. So the relationship that we're going to use to say the question mark angle equals 67 degrees. So we could say measurement of angle question mark equals 67 degrees. How do we know that? Because vertical angles. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and put that on your paper? Because on your homework, you're going to need to label the relationships. Questions? All right. Number 5. I give you 2 angles, and then I need you to find the third. So these 2 angles, they are corresponding. They're both on the same side of the transversal. One's on the inside, one's on the outside. So that is corresponding angles. They are congruent. So I'm going to set them equal to each other. 18x minus 2 equals 16x plus 10. Take a second and solve for x on your own. So those orange angles are congruent because they're consecutive interior, or sorry, they're corresponding. I set them equal to each other. Now solving. Subtract 16x on both sides. 18 minus 16 is 2x. Add 2 to both sides. 10 plus 2 is 12. Divide both sides by 2, so x equals 6. I need to find that. Now, I need to go in and find my question mark angle. Why would I not plug it into this 18x minus 2? They don't have a direct relationship. I could and then say that, well, that equals my 16x plus 10. That's the same. And then I could find a relationship. However, I'm trying to make as least steps as possible.
You're just trying to find that.
Now I'm trying to find this question mark. So I can plug it into the 16x plus 10. So 16 times 6 plus 10 equals 106. So if this angle is 106, now can I find my question mark angle? Yes. My question mark angle and this angle are what? 180 because they are linear pairs. Linear pairs, so I'm going to say 180 minus 106, so measurement of question mark, or angle question mark equals 74 degrees.